Okay, here's some problems from the assignment in 2.5. In 2.5, we were doing 3 to 33 odds. And here are some of the questions that were asked. 5x to the fourth minus 2x to the third minus 7x to the second minus 39 divided by this. Because this is not, it's not basically x minus 6, not a linear thing. I cannot do it through synthetic. Not to mention the instructions say to do it by long division. So, 5x to the fourth minus 2x to the third minus 7x to the second minus 39. This whole thing is divided by x squared plus 2x minus 4. Now, x squared times what gives me 5x to the fourth? Well, x squared times 5x squared would give me that, I believe. So I might put it here, 5x squared. 5x squared times x squared is 5x to the fourth. 5x squared times 2x is 10x to the third. Notice I'm lining up like terms. 5x squared times negative 4 is negative 20x squared. In division, at this point, you're supposed to change your signs and add. So change that sign, and change that one. Now I add, and what do I get here? What is that? Is that negative 12, I think? Negative 2 and negative 10 is negative 12x to the third. 20 and a negative 7, I think, is 13x to the second. And I don't have an x to the first term in this, apparently. So I probably should write this as plus 0x to the first and then minus 39. So basically there's a 0x here. So again, x squared times what gives you negative 12x to the third? Well, that'd be negative 12x. So I'm going to put in negative 12x up here. Negative 12x times x squared is negative 12x to the third. That's the whole goal. Negative 12x times 2x is negative 24x squared. Negative 12x times negative 4, I think, is a positive 48x. If I didn't put this 0x here, I wouldn't have a column for that 48x. So again, at this point in long division, you change your signs and add. So when I add, what is this? 30, those add to 0. This would be 37, I think. 37x squared. These would add to negative 48x, and then you still have this on the end. One more time, x squared times what is 37x squared? Well, x squared times 37, right? So I need to put in here a positive 37. 37 times x squared is 37x squared. 37 times 2x is 60, what is that, 74x, I think? And then 37 times negative 4 is negative 37 times 4, that's 28, carry the 2. 12 and 2, was it 148?
Yep.
Now again, in division, at this point, we have to change our signs and add. So that's negative, that's positive. Those cancel when you add. Here you're going to add them, and you're going to get what here? 48 plus 74, but it is negative. 12, 122, I think. Negative 120, let me do it in purple like I have been. Negative 122x. And what do these add to? If you have 148 and you take away 39, you'd have to borrow, that'd be 109, plus 109. Now because this power is less than my divisor here, I have to put my remainder over my divisor. So what I'm going to put is plus negative 122x plus 109, and that would be divided by x squared plus 2x minus 4. And all of this up here is your answer. Okay, I was also asked 7. We have 3x to the third, so I have 3x to the third plus 11x to the second plus 4x plus 1. This is all divided by x squared plus x. So x squared times what is 3x to the third? 3x times x squared is 3x to the third. 3x times x is 3x squared. In division at this point, you're going to change your signs and add. So is that what? 8x squared? To bring down the plus 4x and the plus 1. X squared times what is 8x squared? Positive 8. 8 times x squared is 8x squared. 8 times x is 8x. Change your signs and add. This would be a negative 4x plus 1. Because this power is less than this power, I've made it to my remainder. So I put plus my remainder over the divisor, x squared plus x. So my answer is going to be 3x plus 8 plus a negative 4x plus 1, all divided by x squared plus x. That should be the answer. Okay, after 7, I was asked 17. This one they want us to do by synthetic. For synthetic, you have to make sure all powers are represented in decreasing order. X to 4, x to 3, x to 2, x to 1, x to 0. Apparently they're all there. So I bring down my coefficients. The first coefficient's a 1. Then a negative 5, a negative 8, a 13, and a negative 12. These are the coefficients up here. Now, I leave a space, draw a line, and make a box. The number that goes in the box is whatever makes this 0. So that would be a 6. Now that we have it set up, I'll give you a second to make sure you have it set up so you can follow the procedure. Okay, to do synthetic division, you bring your first number down, so the 1 comes down. Multiply. 6 times 1 is 6. You put it here and add. If I add these, I get a 1. 6 times 1 is 6. It goes here. Add. Negative 2. Now I have 6 times negative 2, which is negative 12. Add. That gives you a 1. 6 times 1 is 6. And that gives me my last number, which is known as my remainder. So, this is going to be 1x to the third plus 1x to the second minus 2x plus 1 plus the remainder over the divisor. You could also write that as minus 6 over x minus 6. Okay, after 17, somebody asked me to do 33. We want to find the zeros if 1 0 is 9. So I do this through synthetic division. So I bring down my coefficients. 2, negative 10, negative 71, negative 9. I leave a space, draw a line, make a box. The number that goes in the box is your 0. So I'm just going to put a 9 in there. First number comes down, so the 2 comes down. 9 times 2 is 18. You put it here and add. 9 times 8 is 72. You put it here and add. 9 times 1 is 9. And that makes, when you add, you get your remainder to be 0. which I kind of knew the remainder was 0, or else 9 wouldn't have been a 0. So, I have 2x to the, what's 1 less than 3 power? 2x to the 2 plus 8x plus 1. Now I would try and find the zeros of this. But I can't factor it. A times c is 2. B is 8. There are no factors of 2 that add to 8, so I know it's not factorable. I'll probably have to use a quadratic equation. Okay, what is the quadratic equation? Their formula: x equals negative b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac, the entire thing divided by 2a. So what I'd like to do is fill these in. Okay, what is b? B is 8. So I put an 8 wherever I see a b. What is a?
2.
A is 2. So I put 2's where I see a's. And what is c? 1. So I put a 1 where I see a c. So this becomes negative 8 plus or minus square root 8 squared is 64 minus 8 all divided by 4. Well, what is 64 divided by, 64 minus 8? I believe it to be 56. Does that sound right? Now, 56, is that divisible by any perfect square like 4? Does 56, is it divisible by 4? 4 times 1 is 4. That gives me a 16. So it goes in there 14 times. So if I have the square root of 56, I could break it up into 4 times 14. Square root of 4 being 2. So this is going to become negative 8 plus or minus. Instead of radical 56, what am I going to call it? 2 radical 14, and it's all divided by 4. Now we just need to simplify it. Okay, to simplify, I can factor 2 out and cancel it, or just divide everything by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2. So these would be your other two zeros. So you'd have x equals 9, which was given, and then these other two zeros. You're absolutely right. I did not divide everything by 2, because if I did, this divided by 2 should be negative 4, plus or minus radical 14, the whole thing over 2. That's why we should check our answers. We catch little mistakes like that. Okay, after 33, somebody asked me 23. They want us to factor this completely. They're telling us that x minus 8 is a factor. So, again, I'm going to use synthetic division. Are all powers represented? X to 3, x to 2, x to 1, x to 0. Looks good. Bring down my coefficients. Leave a space, draw a line, make a box. What goes in the box is whatever makes x minus 8 0, which would be 8. You bring the first number down, and you'll know you did it right if your remainder is 0 at the end. So you multiply. 8 times 1 is 8. Add. This gives me 6. What's 6 times 8? 48. That gives me 8. 8 times 8 is 64. Does it add to 0? So that gives me the remainder. So what this means is, this still is x minus 8. That's what they told us the factor was. This is 1x squared plus 6x plus 8, which is coming from these coefficients. Now they want us to factor it completely, so I need to continue my factoring. So x minus 8 stays. How do you get x squared? Well, it's probably x times x. Are there factors of 8 that add to 6? How about 4 and 2? 4 times 2 is 8. 4 plus 2 is 6. So now I have it factored completely. I hope these help. Good luck.